G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin has crashed. We're going to dive into that in a second. I keep refreshing it. It keeps going lower and lower and lower, but good news, it's still above $100,000 US. Bad news, it is above $100,000 US. Really informal, just a bit of Bitcoin banter. I was in the Bitcoin mood, had a little bit of time. I posted a post on X saying, hey, does anyone want to shoot the shit and go live right now? Papa Bear's like, yeah, let's talk. So here we are. Papa Bear, how are you today, mate?
I'm good, Sean. I feel a little bit embarrassed because I've got picked up on X. It's crazy. How are you going?
Post, mate? Yeah, good, man. It's been a insanely hectic, incredible day. It hadn't really stopped until 5 minutes ago. Just got off a podcast with Checkmate, which will be out on Monday, everyone. So make sure you hit subscribe for that. But it's like, got 35 minutes free. Like, what do I want to do? I haven't gone live for ages. I just want to talk live. So are you a steak, Papa Bear? But here we are, first date.
I mean, well, you know, look, I've been around in the Bitcoin space for a long time, and I've seen a lot of characters, and you're definitely one of them. So, and I'm enjoying some of the streams that you've been doing too. I think you had that guy, the Lebanese guy. Is that Ivan?
Tony.
Tony? Yeah. Wow. What
Yeah.
a story, man. Like, yeah. Go for it, man.
I was just going to say, Tony Asbeck from the Bitcoin Way, like, he's my channel partner, but he's my favorite person in the world, aside from my wife. He's just amazing, man. He's just so talented, you know, one of the people in the entire world that understands Bitcoin cybersecurity. But the shit that he went through in Lebanon, like, holy fuck. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is not Friday, but it's F-Bomb Thursday today. If you've got sensitive ears, probably not the best one, but like the shit that went on in Lebanon, the banks just came in, government came in, haircut, we're just going to take all your money. Can't get it. You know, people burn themselves on fire, robbing the banks for their own fucking money, and just the chaos. And he lived through that, a multi-millionaire, retired, and thought he was just about to kick it off, and like upturned his life. And then to be able to put that passion and purpose into Bitcoin, it's you know, Bitcoin attracts a lot of different people, and I want to get a bit into your story. You've been around for a long time, Papa Bear. We were just talking for a few minutes before we went live. Like, you went through Mount Gox and all that shit, and that's sort of like very similar to just all your money going. But yeah, incredible, man.
Yeah, well, Mount Gox saga was, look, I got into Bitcoin initially because I just wanted to buy illegal shit. No, everybody knows it. I was buying a bit of cocaine, whatever the hell, because they used to.
Let's go.
Just buy it.
Party time.
They send it to you in the mail, right? That's just how it works.
And I never did that. Never, not once.
Yeah, well, I did, and it was good, and it was fun. And my wife was the one who picked up on the Silk Road, but I had to work out how to do the Bitcoin, and it wasn't easy at the time. You had to get some bank in Western Australia, and you had to, when you used the Silk Road, you had to use this Tor thing, and it was dark web or something, and I don't even know, right? I'm an old guy. I really struggled with it. But when Mount Gox got hacked, I took the view, well, you want to play with criminals, you're going to get burnt. That was my view on it. Point blank, you know, I said, I had the Bitcoin, and whatever value it was at the time, and I thought, you know, that's the cost of doing criminal shit sometimes. You just, you know, they got you. What the thing I didn't do, which I clearly I would regret now, is I did no research after that. I wiped it. I just that's just a life journey. If I had it done, so that was about, I think, 2013 or around about then. If I had done any research at all, I would be in tune to all that. Because even though I'm 65 years old, I've been in technology and tech since I was 10. You know, building little electronic sets and everything, ham radio operator, the whole 9 yards. So I would have embraced it, but I didn't bother. And the message I've got to, you know, we've got a few little Zoom groups going around and everything. that talk about crypto. And the thing that I regret the most, I've told many people that story, is when opportunities present themselves, go and investigate it. At least do your own research. I mean, that wasn't a term back in my day. Do your own research. Nobody said anything like that. That was it's just crook money, and that's the end of that for you. You know. So I've come back to Bitcoin in the last 4 years because I did my own research eventually after getting my head beaten against the wall by a good mate of mine. And he orange-pilled me. Re-orange-pilled me.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I was in a mastermind, and then obviously that podcast with James before. But in the mastermind, we're sort of talking in regards to Bitcoin, because since August last year, I spent $2,200 buying Bitcoin books for other people's education. And like, that's a lot of books. And out of all those people, probably 7 have, I don't know, maybe like 10 to 20 people read the books. Maybe 5 to 7 people have bought Bitcoin from it. So it's not something that's just going to be handed to you. And even though like you got into Bitcoin really early and you came through nefarious ways with the Silk Road and stuff, it wasn't until you did your own research that you got it. And just for anyone new, the big print, I'd highly recommend it. Read it front to back. If you don't get Bitcoin, cool. Like, my mission's complete. At least you've read the book. And that's all I care about. If people buy Bitcoin or not, I actually don't care. But if they fail to do their own research, I truly do care. Because I think it's the information, the knowledge that we consume and that we live that's going to change the outcome of our lives. But what was the difference of Bitcoin, like when you first got into it, or when your mate orange pilled you and then you actually did your research? Was it just that there wasn't like the extraordinary amount of podcasts that are out there, the books, X as a resource, as a Bitcoin resource, the chat groups and the forums and stuff where they're actually discussing Bitcoin, or you just really didn't think about investing in it for whatever reason? Like, what changed?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think I can come up with some great responses to it. So when I originally did the Bitcoin, it genuinely was because to buy illegal stuff, no question. So I had a mindset that that's what it was.
Yeah.
No, I was in such a shell that that's all I knew about Bitcoin. Right? Was first path was go to work out how to get onto the Silk Road, and then found out that to use the Silk Road you have to use Bitcoin. Yeah. So then I had to figure out how to use Bitcoin as an Aussie. That was it. So that was go to Bitcoin because I want to buy stuff on a freaking Silk Road. So, monitored the MT Gox or the Mount Gox. It was painful. 10 years of bullshit, lies, deception, and all the bullshit that ended up. But just before they ended up paying us out, a good mate of mine who I sort of work with, he was in a Bitcoin and said, "Hey, I'm doing the Bitcoin, the crypto." I said, "Oh, yeah, I did all that, and it's criminal money." He goes, "Oh man, it's a lot's changed." He said it like that. I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's changed?" He goes, "Well, money," and he talked about money, and I'm like, "What are you talking about, bro? Like, I've got you put your money in the bank and you save it." And like, I had no idea. And I run a business. I've made lots of money, mate, running a business. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you got to put your money in the bank and you get the interest if you can, and it's all good, and you pay everything, and it's no problem." And he goes, "No, bro." And he gave me the whole, that book. What's the other one? The Bitcoin Standard. The Bitcoin Standard. There's another one. That's the one. There was another one about I can't remember the name, about how
broken money.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but it'll come to me. I'm old, Sean. I'm old. Just memory's a bit of a thing. So then I started thinking more about it, and more and more and more. So we bought Bitcoin. We're buying Bitcoin. I flipped my super fund to self-managed fund that we already had. It was absolutely underperforming. It, peanuts. So I've been married 3 times, divorced, the whole bit, right? So I flipped my super fund, and it's probably 80% Bitcoin. The rest is just a bit of ETH and a bit of that. And in that 18 months to 2 years, I think I'm at about 217% growth, right? Well, you're never going to get that anywhere else. Like, you're not getting that out of freaking AMP's, super fund where they, oh yeah, man, we're going to give you 12% this year. Woohoo! I remember buying into some super plan that some bank put me onto, transferred the money, and the next day it dumped. And I'm like, hey, bro. He goes, oh, yeah, it's how it works, mate. Right. So if you're gonna risk everything, risk it for yourself with the higher gain. And buying Bitcoin, I mean, okay, yeah, it does go up and down and all that sort of stuff. But if you're long-term investing, so I can tell. I mean, I'm at retirement age. I can get out now, and I'm not quite at retirement age, but I can take a pension and off the fund and everything. But I tell a lot of young people, you've got your life ahead of you yet. I mean, how old are you? Like 30, 45? What?
Yeah, in my 30s.
Right. So I'm probably close to double your age. Right. So here's what I did for the young people in my life. So my grandchildren, they've got an Alipal each, Alipal wallet.
Yep.
And in their wallet, they've got 0.15 Bitcoin. 0.15 Bitcoin they got. And I bought that, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago. Now, they're only 5 and 6 years old. They're not allowed to get those wallets until they're 25.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll try and add more to it as I go, but I'm just going to say, here's your wallet. If I'm around, or whoever's looking after an estate, they can give it to them and show them how to use it. There's full instructions. So do it now. You're doing it now. You're not doing it now for today. You're doing it now for tomorrow. Right? Yeah. And that's the big difference. And that's what I never did. I've spent so much money on big racing yachts, done ocean races, and paid for the whole lot. Right? Burnt that much money. It wasn't funny. I don't know if you listen to a guy called Adam Stokes. Have you heard of him, Adam Stokes?
Yes, his name is very, very familiar.
One of the very best YouTuber guys that I've watched. I know Adam quite well. He's a nice bloke. And he's been doing those for 8 or 9 years now. And he's started by saying, just buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, and do this and do that, and don't waste your money on junk and, things like that. He hasn't changed. He hasn't changed his rhetoric at all. It's gotten more political, but he hasn't changed his rhetoric. It's always buy Bitcoin. He's right into the other stuff too, but it's always buy Bitcoin. Don't waste your money on junk. Don't go, what he calls it, Louis Vuitton landfill crap and things like that. Do that, right? And most people, the saying is, I came for the Lambo, stayed for the revolution. Right? And that was not so much me, because I kind of already had a Lambo yacht, right? But I stayed for the revolution, and I'm freaking an anarchist now. I'm like a DG anarchist, mate, as far as Bitcoin goes. I know, Josh Shigala. You've heard of him, Joshua Shigala. He's a Bitcoin guy.
Josh is in the. He's in the chat.
He's not in the chat. Hey, bro, how are you, man?
Shout out to Josh.
Josh is one of the most humble guys. He's an old school Bitcoiner. You want to know a story about Josh? He did a video many years ago but he had a mobile phone. I just bought this mobile phone. It cost me X amount of Bitcoin. And I spoke to him the other week. I said, remember that phone? He goes, yeah, that was like a multi-million-dollar freaking phone now. he paid a lot of Bitcoin for it. But that's what it was like in those days. You had the Bitcoin, you spent the Bitcoin. That's what it was for, right?
Yeah.
Now, Satoshi said differently, but I think all the degens used to spend and buy pizzas and shit, right? So it's different now. Money's different. All sorts of things are different in life. You go, look at what our governments are doing to us today. They're raping and pillaging us for our money, right?
Yeah.
They're taxing us into oblivion, and they're inflating us so as we'll still stay and be slaves. You've got to get yourself out of being that. And Bitcoin, I don't care what anyone says because I'm old. I don't even give a shit now. If you don't buy Bitcoin, you're gone.
Yeah.
You'll be working forever, and you'll have nothing, and you won't be happy. Whatever Klaus with his bugs and everything. No, you will have nothing, and you will not be happy. All right, because I've had nothing, and I wasn't happy.
Yeah, me too.
So anybody who has had nothing is not happy. You have to dig deep, and you have to make it so as you will be happy. And if money is the thing that sort of helps that along, then the only real money to buy and use or save is Bitcoin, not cash, not whatever they're talking about. They're lying to you. That's it. You know that.
Yeah, I guess that's my biggest fear of had a pretty hard upbringing, so I know 100% at different times what it's like to absolutely own nothing and be fucking miserable living on the streets. And like, you just don't want that. When sailors got that meme, people that save in cash, we call them poor. Like, I feel that because the government in the last 5 and a little bit years, and like in the last 5 years and like 3 days when I worked it out or whatever, they've added 38% to them 3 money supply. But over like the last 5.5 years, for example, it's closer to like 57% that they've inflated the currency away. And over the last 10 years, it's more like 103%. So about 10% per year, they're inflating the money supply. And when they're coming in with these commie unrealized capital gains taxes for super funds, because it's aimed at the rich for people over $3 million, but it's not indexed to inflation. These people are fucking crooks. They want to enslave the everyday citizen. They just want the sheeple to go along with and be like, fucking tax the rich, fuck them people, they're greedy, blah, blah, blah. This is just a loophole they're taxing. No, it's an unrealized capital gains tax that is not indexed, which means it's going to apply to fucking everyone. So in the next 15 to 20 years, $3 million will be like $250,000 in purchasing power. You're going to have it. It's going to apply to you. Like, everyone should be fucking irate, but everyone's just going along and they're like, oh, socialism and all this stuff, it's so fucking good. No, it's not. Like, what's happening in this country is absolutely insane. The money printing's not going to stop. And if they bring this tax in, it's not in yet, thank God. But say they do, once they've got it in, they're like, oh, it's working here. And maybe in the short term, they'll raise more capital and whatever like that. Big brain drain. It's just going to leave the obedient little slaves here in this country. The country's going to go more and more to shit. And this is the most beautiful country in the entire world. Like, why do that to this country? It's
retards, mate. Like, no, seriously.
It's messed up.
Sean, seriously, look. I'll be frank with you. When I was 4 years old, I was living in an orphanage. Okay, in Mornington, across from where I live now, in a place called Sutton Grange. It was an old. You can look it up. It was a beautiful old mansion that was owned by the state government. Got cared for till I was like 12. Got adopted out, and got kicked out of that house when I was 16. Nothing, literally nothing. Okay, so. A lot of people have come from nothing and done amazing things with their life. I'm incredibly dyslexic. I'm so grateful for the guy who invented the copy frickin' paste thing for crypto wallet addresses. But you can make it. This, and you're a boomer. you had every opportunity. I sure as well did. I could walk in and out of a job the next day. Right? It wasn't a problem for me. But it wasn't because there was that many jobs. It was because of the type of person I was. You know, I wouldn't take no for an answer. Oh, you got to hire me. No, you just hire me. I'll do a great job, mate. You know, it'll be fine. So you've got to, particularly now, you have to be defiant. You have to be defiant. Look them in the eye and go and tell them to go and fuck themselves, and you're not going to comply. Like literally, I know I can say it. I'm old. I don't give a shit. Right? I literally don't care about it. I'm fine. Do you want to take my bloody unrealized gains? Knock yourself out. Have a crack, because there'll be nothing there. Right? I'm not giving you my money for free. The money that I didn't make yet, you're not getting.
Yeah.
Don't care. Right? And I know everybody, oh, you've got to pay. Yeah, sure. You got to pay some tax. Some tax. I'm getting raped and pillaged. I call that unrealized capital gains mafia level extortion, because that's exactly
100%.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's extortion from okay. So if I happen to have that level of money in a super fund, right, I earned every bloody cent of it. I saved, I scrimped, I sacrificed, I did every single thing to earn that. From coming from nothing to that, and you, government, think you're taking it? Not a fucking chance.
Fuck yeah.
And
the other thing I just want to double click on is you did the right thing. You did the sensible thing. Instead of being a fucking burden on society like so many people, you're like, if you do or don't have 3 million, beside the point, but you've contributed to something that was there for your retirement, so you wouldn't need to be a burden on the system, which is a burden on everyone else in the tax space. And then they change the rules last minute on you. Like, how's that fair?
Mate, you wouldn't know this. Well, maybe you do. They sold superannuation to us as exactly that. Right?
Yeah.
So to not be a burden on the government purse. They were not going to have enough money to cover it. They forced businesses to pay an extra 9% or whatever it was at the time. Now it's 11. So you're now paying more for your staff. And then and they're earning and they're doing what they're trying to do so as they can have a retirement thing. So it's no longer the government's problem, because it was at the start. And now they're going to steal that. I've never, ever taken a cent from the government in social welfare. Ever. Right? A lot of people can say that because they're freaking hard workers and they're trying their best and they're doing whatever. I think I went down to it was called the CES at the time. To walk in there because I'd lost a job and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I went in there and I felt so disgusted being in there. I was disgusted with myself for being there. And I went out, and that day I got another job. It was a shit job, but it was a job.
Yeah.
Right? I don't take money from the government. Never have. Right? But they take plenty from me. And I get nothing back. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
sorry.
More and more.
I do get stuff back. I get outraged. That's what they give me, outrage, when I see where they piss it up against the wall. You did not expect a rant to come out of an old guy, but I can tell you, old guys rule.
You're past the point of giving a fuck. It's absolutely great. One thing I'd like to, I love it. One thing I'd like to say is I have been on unemployment benefit before, went in there and I think it was like 6-8 weeks or something. And they allowed me to do, I think it was a barista course, maybe a Cert 3 in barista. And then I could use a job. And yes, while I was on there, like it felt like shit and stuff. But I used that opportunity to be able to do something, to be able to keep working. I'd fallen on hard times and in bad ways. And that was around the time of the Silk Road as well, if you put 2 and 2 together, that time in my life. And it made the world of difference. So I don't think people should go in there and, there's like generations of families and stuff. And a lot of that's an education, socio-economic problem and stuff. But in my case, and for some people listening, like, I'm grateful for it. I wish I was strong enough mentally, physically, emotionally at that stage not to need a handout, but I was grateful that I seized that opportunity. It still worked for me. I just wanted to disclose that.
Sean, don't ever think that that unemployment benefits, they're there for a reason. They are meant to be a support mechanism. I support it for people who are down on their luck, especially with a young family. No question.
Yeah.
Generational use of unemployment and of social security, social welfare. You're kidding me? They are creating a problem for themselves and their families and their children. There will be generational welfare recipients, and you're clearly not one of those. I mean, it's obvious, right? But that's what those what they call them, that fallback, social welfare net or whatever. That's what it's there for, right? Things happen to you. You need to eat. You learn how to become a barista. I hope you make a pretty good latte, because one thing I'll Papa Bear liked is a coffee, and you've moved on, right?
100%.
I can't imagine you'll be wanting to go back down that path again, right? And that's what I say is, like, and I'm from a different generation to you, right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm in a different generation to you. Things were easier for us, right? We say they were easier. The cost ratio of buying a house to your wage was different, and all of that. I get it, right? I've got children. I've got grandchildren. I hear it every day from them.
I want to push back on that. Just quickly, like, everyone throws all like shit at the boomers. It's so easy, blah blah blah. You just didn't have AI. You didn't really have the internet, mobile phones, and to be able to work from anywhere in the world with anyone in the world, to be able to connect with anyone in the world. Like, you and I are talking because I put a message up saying, hey, I'm going live, and then you took that opportunity. But you didn't have that opportunity as a kid. So, like, maybe some things were easier, but like what people can do now, and like all the research and all the information, like when you first got into Bitcoin, there wasn't enough education just in general. Like, you're only in it for the criminal element at that stage. So maybe if there was, you wouldn't have taken it. But I think the opportunities now, I think there's more opportunities right now, even in Australia, but than any time in human history. So I think that's a cop out from people that are broke, but not just broke, have a victim mentality and aren't willing to put in the proof of work that it takes to drag yourself out of that situation. It may take 10 years. It may take 15. It took me 15 years of concentrated effort to be able to break free of being a slave within the matrix. But I kept pushing, and there is plenty of opportunity, but sorry.
No, look, you're not wrong. I mean, when we were kids, the communication network was shout at the kid 2 doors down the street, and he'd run down the road and knock on the other kid's door to see what he's doing. Literally, right? That was the network. And communities. I knew, my parents knew every parent in the street. I knew every kid in the street and probably the whole block. Every kid. Like, you knew them at school. You knew them, we were playing down the creek and everything. So totally different. Like in my corporate career, before mobile phones, we had to pull up a bloody telephone box, right, and make a phone call, the 10 cents or 5 to make a phone call, ring into the office, find out what the hell's going on, who we have to go and visit next, right? So now you can do all that in the car, driving around. It's all good. It's all cool. But there's still so many opportunities. So many opportunities. AI, come on, man. If you were my stepson, he works in graphic design for some pretty big company, and I said, and he's worried about his job, and he said this 2 or 3 years ago, and he goes, bloody AI. I said, get into the AI, bro. Get into it. Yeah,
use it.
Get into it. And you will drive that. You will be able to run the AI. You can't just say, "Hey AI, make me the best this." It'll give you something. It'll be shit.
Yeah.
But you got guys who know how to drive it and make it do it. You'll be the guy.
Yeah.
They'll be paying you 3 times your wage because they've gotten rid of 6 guys or 8 guys or girls.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about opportunity. There's tons of it. right? But you've got to just want to take it, you know?
And I think also
if they don't take it, there's somebody else will, mate.
100%. And like, even just to take a moment to be able to step back and realize that maybe you have no skills. Like, I did pretty well in crypto 4 years ago, and I realized like I hadn't learned shit. And so I stayed at my bullshit job, and then I just systematically stacked skill after skill after skill after skill till I was in a position where skill wise I could go out and I could take a risk, and I had the pipeline of Bitcoin behind me. So I had a little bit of runway where I could go out and I could put those skills into action. But I realized, like, oh, fuck, like, you haven't really got anything of value to be able to put to use anywhere in the world. And so I was just like, all right, like, what do I need to learn? And then, like, over the last, since August last year, spend 4 hours a day with AI, garbage in, garbage out. Or as you start to use it as a tool and get better with it and learn to be able to prompt it in clear and concise ways, it's absolutely amazing. I need to get out of here. My time has come to an end. But Papa Bear, final thoughts. I'll hand it over to you, and then I'll sign off. And we'll have to do this again. It's fucking a good start, man. This is awesome.
I do love a rant. My signing off thing is, so for whoever young people that are listening, and I don't care if you're 10 or if you're 50 years young, do something about your financial position. It's probably the most important thing you can do. All right? If that's going to be Bitcoin, it should be. If you don't know how to do it, reach out to Sean. I'm sure he'll tell you how to set up a wallet and go and buy some Bitcoin. I know it sounds crazy, and it sounds like that's bullshit, but it's just not. And there's tens of thousands of people to prove it. All right? That's all I got to say. Young people, you got to set yourself up today, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Probably the quickest way. Read the big print, ladies and gentlemen. It costs you $20, $30 for the hardcover. Listen to the audio book, whatever. The information is out there. But been an absolute pleasure for everyone out there. Remember to buy, stack, and chill. Do something nice for yourself today. For somebody else out there, be blessed. Peace. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Good to see you, mate.
Thank you.